A brow. Rob Pelinka.
Oh, well played.
You got LeBron as man. King James took to Instagram and wrote AD on the way. Let's get it, bro. Just the beginning. It is also just the beginning of our show. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Elle Duncan and Matt Barry on a Sunday morning where the NBA once again proved their offseason is just as entertaining on a blockbuster Saturday.
In what may go down as the most substantial return on a single-star player in modern league history, the Lakers paid a very steep price for AD services. Here's the details of the deal. Lakers give up Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and three first-round picks, including the 4th overall pick in the 2019 draft, which we will see on Thursday night. Now, until we see real gameplay between these two, you're going to be reminded that LeBron drafted AD for his All-Star team, and then they had an alley-oop, and everyone was salivating, and they're like, oh, what could be? Oh, imagine what could be. Now, definitively, will be, Matt, next season. So on May 15th, the Lakers had 25-1 odds to win the title. Okay, that was according to Caesars. Yesterday, their odds were 5-1. And what did you say at the time? Because we were laughing.
I joked and said it's a joke that the Lakers are the favorite, but
right.
They must know that the Anthony Davis deal is coming.
And then look what happened.
It came.
That is Caesars Sportsbook himself, currently sitting at 7-2 odds to win it all.
Actually, our current Caesar Sportsbook, Adrian Wojnarowski, everybody was just going along our Saturday afternoon. Then he dropped a Woj bomb yesterday, breaking the story. Joining us this morning, and Woj, I think all of us are collectively wondering what exactly got this deal done.
David Griffin, New Orleans executive vice president of basketball operations, really preyed on the desperation of the Lakers to get Anthony Davis into the organization, to pair him with LeBron James, and preyed on the fear they had that he could have very easily have done a deal with the Boston Celtics for Anthony Davis. You know, hit all the pressure points in LA several days before the draft, and then nailed it with, 2 starting level players in Ingram and Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, and then the 3 first-round picks, including number 4 overall in Thursday's NBA draft, and then another pick swap in another season that you saw that in the Nets-Celtics deal. All in all, as big of a single deal as anyone has gotten in this modern era for a star player.
Yeah, just amazing when we read the headline that the deal was in fact done, but then when we started reading the compensation for both teams in this deal, just an amazing Saturday afternoon. We're going to go over to Bobby Marks and Elle Duncan with what this means perhaps Elle for the roster going forward.
Right, with the deal to acquire Anthony Davis, the Lakers would have just 4 other guys under contract for next season, along with LeBron James. They did get to keep Kyle Kuzma, but those other guys are Mo Wagner and Isaac Bonga. I'm just saying, as our NBA front office insider Bobby Marks joins us now. So what are the options for the Lakers to fill out the rest of the roster spots?
Well, right now it's all about timing, Elle, and this is where the Lakers cap space will be if they complete the trade on July 6th, and that includes the $4 million Anthony Davis trade bonus that we're factoring in, and that does not get you a Kemba Walker or a Kyrie Irving because you would be over the cap. And what they would be looking at is splitting that money up, possibly in a player like J.J. Redick, also Danny Green. And that would use up your cap space. You still have a little bit left over, $3.5 million. Maybe a player like Trevor Ariza, you still have your $4.8 million room exception. But I think it's important, if this trade is completed on July 30th, would be 30 days, then the Lakers would be able to afford Kemba Walker or possibly Kyrie Irving. It's all about timing, either $32 million or $23 million. So it's a matter of how they spend that money.
Which could be really significant, right? That 30 days could be significant in terms of how they fill out the roster. There is, because Bobby Marks is going to hang around, though, the Pelicans, who have a huge haul. You're going to stick around and tell us what they'll do moving forward.
Yeah, Woj is back with us. You have to fill out that roster. Now we're talking about equity, Adrian, with GM David Griffin getting a haul for Anthony Davis. They've got that 1st and 4th pick. We're pretty sure what they're going to do with the 1st pick, but now they've got that 4th pick. What are you hearing about their plans for Thursday's draft?
Matt, that 4th pick is at auction right now around the NBA. David Griffin is taking bids to bring in an established player, maybe more than one established player for that 4th overall pick. Now, they could keep it and draft on Thursday. A big part of the reason why David Griffin wanted this deal done several days ahead of the draft was to now be able to either flip that again to bring in more talent, or use the pick in Thursday's draft and allow himself to get out now and start meeting, working out, interviewing, some of the key players in that region of the draft. It gives them an opportunity here to even expand this trade, whether it turns 3 first-round picks into 4 or 5, or brings in more talent to pair with Zion Williamson, Drew Holiday. This is now a Pelicans roster potentially that should be right back in the playoffs in the Western Conference, and a formidable group, especially if Zion is everything that New Orleans expects that he will be.
And therein lies the difference between yesterday and February. That equity of the draft picks, 1st and 4, did not exist. They were able to swap that, and you bring up a good point with the Pelicans roster. For more on that, let's send it back over to Elle.
Thanks, Matt, because, yes, Woj has his opinions on that 4th pick. You've got a touchscreen. So what would you do with that 4th pick and the acquired assets if you're the Pelicans?
Well, first, this is a textbook trade on how to trade an all-star. And I think when you look at the roster, we already have Zion Williamson at the #1 pick, Lonzo Ball to pair up with Drew Holiday, and also with Brandon Ingram. And I think when you look at what the options are going to be, of course, they can either keep the 4th pick, maybe target a player like Darius Garland from Vanderbilt, Jarrett Culver from Texas Tech, DeAndre Hunter from Virginia. But as Woj said, there are going to be plenty of options. Remember, Atlanta has 3 picks, 8, 10, and 17. Maybe you fall back and get 2 more. We also talk about the timing of the AD trade, how it impacts the Pelicans' cap space. If they do that deal on July 6th, New Orleans will have $19 million. If they wait, it shrinks down to $15 million. And, of course, the treasure chest of draft assets that they got from the Lakers, unprotected picks, pick swaps, deferments. That is a lot to start. And I think when you look at this, this is basically what the Clippers did. They didn't rebuild. They retooled, and this team could still be a playoff team.
A lot of variables when it comes to these Pelicans, but if you look at that roster and how you laid it out, they could probably use some outside shooting. We'll see if they address that as well. Bobby Marks hanging out with us all day.
I wanted to hear from Magic Johnson what he thought of the trade. This at 7:34 p.m. He credited Jeannie Buss and said LeBron's going to be happy, getting the guy that he wants, big smile on his face. And then 12 minutes later, great trade, Rob Pelinka. Job well done.
Afterthought.
Yeah. 12 minutes after.
Let's check in with our Lakers reporter, Dave McMenamin, who is joining us this morning. I mean, give it to me. What's the reaction around Lakers land on this trade?
Elle, I spoke to several sources within the organization on Saturday. One described it as exciting, obviously. Another said it was huge. Another said it was monumental. This is the moment that the Lakers franchise has been waiting for. And I understand that LeBron coming last summer should have been that moment, but that quickly dissipated, leading basically from injuries on downward spiral the last several months. Magic Johnson stepping away, parting ways with Luke Walton. But this parts the clouds. It brings sunshine back on Southern California, and they have 2 top 7 players to put together. And now the real work begins, trying to find the other pieces to make this thing really shine.
Yeah, this move essentially the deodorant of what's been a pretty stinky offseason for the Lakers. We talked about the draft. We know short term that's coming up on Thursday. Free agency starts at the end of the month. But what's next for the Lakers from what you're hearing?
Well, they got to get together as a front office and determine what their free agency plan is now. There's really 2 major directions they can go in. One is the max level, one singular talent type route. And those names, we know them. It's Kawhi Leonard, the king of the North. It's Jimmy Butler. It's Kemba Walker. It's Kyrie Irving. You can choose one of those 4 guys and try to convince him to come in. Now, there's other guys you can include in that list, Chris Middleton, Nick Vucevic. Those would be lesser tier guys. But you could try to make your big 3 with one of those guys, get him to come in, and you have perhaps the best collection of talent in the league. The other direction, of course, is to break up that max money, because you're going to need some depth here. You only have LeBron, AD, Kyle Kuzma right now under contract, outside of some younger guys like Mo Wagner and Isaac Bonga and Alex Caruso. And so you're going to have to build out that roster. And so perhaps you break up the money and you go after guys like a Seth Curry or a Terrence Ross or Brooke Lopez, Bojan Bogdanovic. These are the type of names that maybe you can give them each around $10 million each, rather than give one guy $32 million for a single season. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a 6 or 7 man rotation with guys you feel comfortable with. And then you get some veterans who want to be a part of this thing who come in for the veteran minimum. And now you're looking like you have the proper depth that can get you through an 82-game season to put you in position to make some serious noise in the playoffs of 2020.
And a lot of what they'll do is contingent on when they actually sign this deal. There's like a whole 30-day thing that could involve more money, less money. We won't get into the whole minutia of that, but Dave McMenamin will be hanging out all day on SportsCenter from the Lakers' perspective, and we'll have a live report from New Orleans coming up in just a bit. Thanks, Dave.
All right, still ahead.